So after a very dominant vote poll today, it is going to be De Zerbi's 4-2-3-1. De Zerbi is one of my favourite managers to watch in the Premier League. He plays some fantastic stuff with a team that really isn't the same standard as the top four. He always loses his best players as well. This season, Caicedo, McAllister, but I'm sure he's going to bounce back and play some incredible football this year as well. But today, we're going to recreate that inside of FM23, see how good it is test of his current side Brighton and previous team Shakhtar. Let's get into it and talk a little bit about how his style of play actually is. So we're going to cover the attacking phase of De Zerbi's style first, and the attacking stage of Brighton's gameplay truly showcases Roberto De Zerbi's tactical prowess. The Italian manager emphasises a possession-orientated style of football, and the team's methodical build-up play consistently captures the attention of fans worldwide. Another aspect where De Zerbi's team excels during the attacking phase is generating gaps between the opposing defensive lines. Brighton consistently strives to have at least one unmarked player positioned in advanced areas between these lines. In addition, the manager of Brighton aims to implement positional play rotations while in possession. It's a regular occurrence to witness players swapping positions to open up avenues for passing. Essentially, De Zerbi's strategy revolves around ensuring his team maintains a constant advantage over the opposition whenever they have the ball. In transition, despite Roberto De Zerbi's inclination towards possession-orientated football, Brighton might not immediately strike observers as a team particularly adept at exploiting transitional attacking opportunities. Nevertheless, this assumption doesn't hold true. The team's approach aligns cohesively with their proactive high-pressing defensive strategy aimed at reclaiming the ball and swiftly transitioning to attack. During these defensive sequences, the Seagulls actively seek to recover possession and launch swift counter-attacks, capitalising on having the numbers going forward and capitalising on the opposition's vulnerable defensive position in advanced zones. Defensively, Brighton adopts an assertive high-pressing defensive strategy characterised by its blend of high-risk and high-reward elements. This tendency becomes evident when examining the goal tally Brighton conceded in the previous season, as you can see above, especially when comparing it to the performance of other teams that concluded the season in very similar positions. Notably, Brighton conceded the highest number of goals, a facet that was somewhat offset by their proactive approach to regaining possession in these advanced zones. But with Brighton in FM, we had an incredible season. We managed to finish second place in the Premier League, only 4 points behind Liverpool, so that is a massive success. We also won the FA Cup in a 3-0 win over Everton, and also played and won a very comfortable Europa League final against West Ham in a 3-0 win. As you can see, James Milner there actually tucking away the first goal. Matoma now driving on the inside and absolutely stampeding it into the top right-hand corner. And James Milner played such an influential role, still at his age, still being the key player, and it is going to be a fantastic third and final goal. Shakhtar, as to be expected, we absolutely thrashed the league, playing 30 games, winning 29 and only drawing 1, nearly picking up a perfect 30 games played and 30 games won. We also won one of the cup finals as well in a 3-0 win, so that is a double winning season. And I know we're a very dominant team in this league, but even these stats surprised me a little bit. 2.93 points per game, 157 goals, absolutely thumping goals past the opposition, 816 shots, 123 fewest conceded, but this is the real key one, 69% possession. That's nearly 70% across an entire season. But of course, let's go over now and break down De Zerbi's 4-2-3-1. Do you want to quickly say, if you're still watching at this point, please do leave a like on the video, but let's go ahead and talk about this. So it is going to be a 4-2-3-1, as you would imagine from De Zerbi, his go-to formation. We're going to kick things off with a sweeper keeper on defending goal, simply on no instructions, because I don't really want this player to specifically do anything that much. So simple sweeper keeper on defend. A wingback on the right is going to be on support on stay wider and also mark tighter. To partner him on the left hand or the right hand sided centre back is going to be a ball playing defender simply on defend. Next to him, we're going to opt for another ball playing defender who is also going to be on defend. Obviously very important we have this sort of ball playing element out from the back. That is the way we're going to be expecting to play with this Brighton team. And the wingback on the left is going to be on support again, on cross more often, stay wider and mark tighter. So, you know, a little bit different to the right hand sided one, so I'll just quickly show you that as well. A little bit different, and it does work really well, having a slight different sort of element to each fullback does help out massively. Going further forwards, we're going to opt to have a deep lying playmaker on defend, one of the best roles in the game in my opinion, and definitely something that Brighton do utilise very well. On tackle harder and simply mark tighter. Next to him, we're going to opt for a Volante on support, on tackle harder, and mark tighter. And the great thing about these two in midfield is they defend really, really well, but also they're not the most negative roles. So even though a deep line playmaker is on defend, he's still going to look for very progressive passes, and the Volante's only on support, so he's also going to defend, but will go forward and help link up to these sort of front four players here. On the right-hand side on support, we're going to have an inverted winger on pass it shorter, and also sit narrower. Obviously, very key we have sit narrower on these inverted wingers, because this way the wing backs aren't going to collide with them in those wide areas, and they're going to link up really, really well. In the middle, we're going to have advanced playmaker on attack, on pass it shorter, move into channels, and tackle harder. One thing you're going to notice very quickly with this front four is the option to have pass it shorter on. For me, it works really well, and that's how I see Brighton playing in real life. That short, sweet pass and almost tiki-taka style between that front four creates some perfect chances. I actually put a clip on my Twitter, by the way, which proves I do play some of the games, which you can check out in the description as well. You can see me post all the sort of build-up to the tactic releases over there. On the left-hand side, we're going to have an inverted winger on attack, on pass it shorter, and also sit narrower. So pretty much exactly the same to obviously the right-hand side. And to finish it off, we are going to have the pressing forward simply on pass it shorter, on attack. So going over to the team instructions, we're actually going to opt for a positive mentality. In possession, we're going to have fairly narrow on the attack and width. We're going to overlap left and overlap right. We're also going to focus play through the middle. Obviously, we've got quite a key part of that team being focused through the middle. A lot of stuff comes through that area, so very important to have that on while playing out of defence. So we're going to be a very possession-orientated team. Passing directness obviously makes sense to have it set to shorter with a higher tempo, because the Zerbi does have that high-risk, high-reward sort of gameplay. Being more expressive is also something I personally opted for, because it really does help this sort of style of play we're trying to replicate. And while doing that, we're going to work ball into the box and also have mixed crosses in the final third. In terms of transition, we're going to opt for having a counter-pressing style, a counter when the ball has been won. We're going to distribute to the centre-backs, not the full-backs. Please don't distribute to the full-backs. And while doing that, we're going to take short goal kicks. Out of possession is fairly obvious, but we are going to be playing that higher line. As I said, high risk, high reward, a high pressing line of engagement much more often, and trap inside being a very key part of De Zerbi's style. So quite a unique way of playing. It is high risk, it is high reward, but to be honest, we didn't concede too many goals, as you can see here. So considering Brighton aren't really one of the top 4 teams in terms of FM, where you're going to be predicted, these stats are actually really, really good. Conceded per game at 0.76, way under a goal a game. Goals per game over 2.5, really, really solid. A pass completion of 87.62, so a really good set of stats, to be honest, for this Brighton team. Obviously, when we were with Shakhtar, a real powerhouse, we actually scored over 5 goals a game. It is a bit of an easy league, I must say, but if you are playing as an absolute powerhouse, you are going to run away in any league. And of course, guys, we have now got the attacking and defensive variants to go over. I want to quickly thank all of the wonderful names coming down the screen right now. These are going to be new or existing Patreon members. Patreon is a great way to support me as a creator. It means the absolute world to me, and also you get some fantastic perks for yourselves. You get access to all 3 of these wonderful files in one simple download. You get early video and tactical release. You get priority in your rebuild, tactic, and Wonder Kid requests. If you've got a certain Wonder Kid or tactic or rebuild you want to see, I'll happily get that done as a priority for you. You also get one-on-one tactical help and much more, including some giveaways, so definitely check that out. The link is going to be in the description. Going over to the attack and variant, we're going to kick things off with the player instructions. We're going to start things off with the sweeper keeper. He remains exactly the same. The wing-back is going to be on support, on stay wider, and also mark tighter. Both ball-playing defenders remain exactly the same. That is a lie. The left-hand side of one, I nearly missed it out. That's why I go over them now. That is going to be dribble more. So we're going to have one ball-playing defender who is going to be a little bit more sort of experimental going forward. Still got enough players defending, but just allowing that one player to sort of push up even into this area is going to obviously make it a lot easier to maintain possession, because he's going to be in a more advanced area. The wing-back on the left is going to be on support, on cross more often, stay wider, and also mark tighter. The deep line playmaker comes off defend now, goes on to support, on tackle harder, and also mark tighter. The Volante opts for an attack and style now, on tackle harder, and also mark tighter. Obviously, now getting further forwards because he is on attacking, so a very attack and sort of defensive too. On the left, we're going to have the inverted winger on attack, on pass it shorter, and sit narrower. The advanced playmaker actually has a little bit more stuff added to him. Pass it shorter, get further forwards, roam from position, move into channels, and also tackle harder. And the right-hand side now is also on attack, on pass that shorter, not sorter, and also sit narrower, while the pressing forward simply remains the same. In terms of the team instructions, we're going to boost it up to an attacker mentality. Fairly narrow, still going to be our choice in terms of the attack and width. We're going to have overlap left and overlap right remaining exactly the same, while still focusing the play through the middle and still playing out from the back. We're going to remain with that shorter passing directness. We're going to keep the higher tempo. The only change that is going to come in entire of this in possession tab is we're now also going to have run at defense. In transition, everything remains pretty much exactly the same. To be honest with you guys, as you can see, the only change is now we're going to look to distribute the ball quickly because we are chasing the game. And in terms of out of possession, it is going to remain practically the same. The higher line, the high pressing line of engagement, much more often. We've added get stuck in, and we're still going to have that pressing trap set to inside. It's now going to be a complete 360. The defensive variant, we are going to go over the player roles as well. So as you can see, it is going to be a little bit more of a negative looking 4-2-3-1, and just a sort of way of defending out those leads that you guys are definitely going to be getting into. So the sweeper keeper is going to be on defend, exactly the same. The wingback on the right is now going to be on defend, simply on stay wider and also mark tighter. The ball playing defender on the default on defend, another ball playing defender on the default on defend. The wingback on the left is going to remain on defend, a complete defensive back four now, not overcommitting those fullbacks or centre backs anymore. Cross more often, stay wider and mark tighter are the instructions you want to have on the left hand side. The two in midfield, the two deeper players, we're going to back for having that deep lying playmaker on defend, on tackle harder and mark tighter. And the DM is going to be on support, on tackle harder and mark tighter. And this back six almost works so well. You rarely can see the goal playing like this because you've got a very defensive back four. You've also then got two players in front of them that have got enough in the locker to sort of pluck a ball going forwards that will protect this back four very, very well. And if that's not enough, these inverted wingers now go on support, so they're also going to sometimes be into these sort of areas here, meaning you can now honestly see yourself defending sometimes with a back eight, but that inverted winger on support is going to be on pass at shorter and sit narrower, and that's exactly the same for the right hand side. In the middle, an advanced playmaker still going to remain in the team, but however is now going to be on support, on pass at shorter and also tackle harder. And to finish off the player roles for the defensive variant, we're going to remain on attack for this one. Got to have one player still attacking. That is going to be a pressing forward on attack, on pass it shorter. In terms of the team instructions, we're going to go back to a positive mentality. I feel like balance is a little bit too negative. Positive is fine. We've got a very defensive back four, so positive is what you really want to be having on. A fairly narrow attacking width. We're now no longer going to be overlap on left and overlap on right because those wing backs are pretty much cemented to defend, obviously, the opposition. In terms of the focus play, we're going to focus play through at the middle. Playing out from the back is still going to be a key part. And the reason to why this is because playing out from the back, although it can be risky, you are going to almost guarantee having the ball at the back and not thumping it long and, you know, wasting possession. So I still like to have that sort of style while trying to run the clock down, to be honest. A shorter passing directness is going to be what we need. The higher tempo is still going to be in the team. On this occasion, we're going to be more disciplined with the creative freedom, and we're going to dribble less. And why are we going to dribble less? Because that means we're going to dominate possession more, we're going to pass the ball more instead of looking to take on players, and it just helps with keeping the ball. And if we've got the ball, they can't score. In transition, there are a couple of changes. The counter-pressing style is going to remain the same. Nothing's selected for when possession has been won. We're going to slow the pace down when we've got the goalkeeper in possession. And on this occasion, we're going to distribute to the fullbacks and the centre-backs because they're all going to be on the same level. The fullbacks aren't going to be pushed up too high. So it's a very non-risk way of playing out from the back. So we're going to opt to play to anyone across that back line. And out of possession, we're going to have the standard defensive line. So dropped it a little bit. We're going to remain with the high pressing line of engagement much more often and remaining with that pressing trap of trapping them inside. But that is going to give you guys 3 fantastic Zerbi 4-2-3-1 tactics, which is an absolute joy to make, by the way. It was a ton of fun to make, and I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. If you have, please do consider leaving a like, dropping a little subscription below and hitting that notification bell, and get commenting right now on any other tactics you want to see, any rebuilds, whatever it is, please do get your comments below. But enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.